Good morning and welcome to St. Paul's Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Phil. This is Worship Wednesday. Good morning, I'm Pastor Phil. This is Worship Wednesday, and we're continuing on inside of the liturgical calendar, and we've moved through several points. And last week, we covered what was the biggest chunk of the year in that green color, where we celebrate life and everything that God has given us. But today, we're going to take a turn to where our color gets different. Today, we contemplate the season of Lent. The season of Lent is a point in the church year where it's difficult because everything should slow down. It's a longer season, and we contemplate the work of Jesus in our behalf. Now, frequently when we talk about this, we think of the work of Jesus in our behalf in terms of his life and everything he's done for us. But he also sustained an awful lot for us that we might be made righteous, and our response is frequently not one of grace. So this is what the season of Lent is about. When you come into churches during the season of Lent, you'll see one of two colors. At one time, the color blue was reused during the season of Advent, or more frequently here, you'll see the color purple. At both of the churches that I am pastor at, they use purple paraments during this time. And this is to be reminiscent and representative of two things. The first is that robe that was thrown over Jesus during his passion. That he had a purple robe put over him, and then he was beaten by those Roman soldiers. So we have a foretaste of what's coming yet during the period of Holy Week. But the color purple also reminds us of the fact that Jesus is in fact a king. So when he comes and offers himself for us, he's not offering himself as, say, the King of England for us. Rather, he is the King of Kings. He's the Lord Almighty. He's the Most High. And he offers himself on our behalf that we might be made right before God. Now, the result of Jesus' work is that we're made perfect. The result is that we are saints before God, but the reality is we don't act that way. Frequently, we don't live in that regenerative grace we receive through the cross. Instead, we continue living in ways that are functionally sin. And this is what the season of Lent is meant to do. Focus us on that activity, that reality that we live in, so that as we move into Holy Week, we can see the gravity of what Jesus has done on our behalf. Now, during the season of Lent, there's lots of traditions that come into play. In some churches, the Catholic Church being an example of this, you don't eat meat on Fridays. You have fish. Now, that being said, some of the best fish fries I've had have come during the season of Lent. But these are one of those things that you do to put aside to think about what Jesus has done. Another thing that happens, and this is something that I do encourage, is that during the season of Lent, fast something. For 40 days, you fast from Ash Wednesday, from beginning of worship Ash Wednesday to the beginning of worship Easter Sunday. You fast something. The last time I remember what I fasted, it was actually coffee from Ash Wednesday to Easter morning. And when I had that first cup Easter morning, I don't know that I've ever had better coffee. It was absolutely wonderful. When that caffeine hit my system and the flavor came, oh, it was just great. But in that, the joy of Easter is seen and experienced in a very physical way, because you've gone through a period of loss, a period of giving up in terms of recognizing what Jesus has done on our behalf. The season of Lent is very fixedly pointed to the work of Jesus on our behalf. It's very fixedly anticipating Jesus being raised in his glory. It's very much pointing us to Holy Week and what Jesus is going to go through during that time. So Lent is important in the life of the church. It's very significant. But the season of Lent comes between when we're in ordinary time during the green season it enters us into that period of anticipation of Holy Week. And then with Holy Week, we go into Palm Sunday and then the Triduum. So I don't know if we're going to cover all that at one time. I'm thinking we'll probably just go through one each week. But for this week, we contemplate Lent. And we remember what Jesus has done for you and I, that you and I might be made whole before the Father, and that we can stand before him, that we can come into his presence in a place like this, stand before his altar, give thanks to him for what he's done, and cry out to him for our needs. I pray that God blesses each and every one of you, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow as we continue on in the Gospel of John. God bless, and I'll see you then.